Banana and plantain production plays an important social, economic, and cultural role in the lives of communities across Guyana. The sector has been on the rise, but has been negatively impacted from time to time with outbreaks of the dreaded black or yellow SIGATOKA disease, a fungal disease that affects the plants and severely hinders production. The disease came to prominence in 2008 and wrought havoc on the industry until the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, Narei, implemented its SIGATOKA management program through rigorous research and development. Initially, the organization provided planting materials, chemicals, and technical advice to farmers. The technical advice comprised of a proven, effective, integrated pest management strategy, which resulted in farmers now being able to identify and manage the disease on their farms. The black SIGATOKA disease is caused by a fungus called Mycophagiensis morellet, while the yellow SIGATOKA disease is caused by a fungus called Mycophaerella musicola. It is one of the major constraints to banana and plantain production apart from climate change. There are two main impacts of this disease: a drastic reduction in yields, that is, poor bunch weight and size, mixed and premature ripening of fruit bunches which are unmarketable. There are several signs and symptoms of this disease. Ms. Kimanda Pilgrim, Research Assistant, Plant Pathology, Entomology and Weed Science Department at Narei, explains.
In the first stage, symptoms may appear as yellow pink-sized spots on the underside of the leaves. In the second stage, symptoms appear slightly brown on the underside and dark brown on the upper side of the leaf. In the third stage, these symptoms may appear elongated and dark. However, in the fourth stage, symptoms may appear dark brown on the upper and the lower side of the leaf. In the fifth stage, symptoms may appear gray with a black border around and a yellow halo on the outer side, both on the upper and the underside of the leaves.
So how does the disease spread?
The disease is spread through the movement of infected plants or leaf from one part of the farm to another or from farm to farm. The disease can also be spread through wind-borne spores of the fungus. It can also be spread through rain splashes, especially when bananas and plantains are planted too close, that is, less than 2.4 meters or 8 feet. Using of infected tools, moving from an infected field to one that is not infected, among others.
What are the effects of BSD on plantain crops? Because of the damage caused to the leaves of the palm, there is a drastic reduction in foliage, which delays flowering. A banana or plantain tree requires between 6 to 9 leaves and up to 17 leaves to be fully productive. This in turn results in the following: production of smaller and lighter fruits, extension in the time between bunch shooting and harvesting, premature ripening in the field and after harvesting, which in turn results in shorter shelf life, up to 50% yield reduction, up to 100% unmarketable fruits with subsequent loss of income to farmers, eventual death of the plant. The strategies employed to manage the incidences of black SIGATOKA disease across all regions of Guyana utilizes an integrated approach with cultural control and chemical control. In cultural control, these strategies are geared towards reducing the humidity in the plantation, reducing the time that the leaves are wet where the spores can germinate and infect the plant, and breaking the cycle of the infection. However, good agricultural practices, preventive or curative, are essential to reduce pest pressure. Chemical treatments only act effectively on the young stages of development.
Prior to planting, it is imperative to note that soil health through soil analysis is important. Now, farmers should follow all the recommended fertilizer rate, timings, and dosage. Choose well-drained areas for planting to avoid moist and wet condition, which favors the disease. Replant with disease-free tissue culture, plant materials. These can be sourced from Narei. In cases where materials come from farms, Treat planting materials with fungicides to protect them from fungal infection. Plant at a wide spacing about 8 feet apart. This is about 1,700 plant per hectare or 640 plant per acre.
During the early stages of the crop, weed regularly to allow good aeration of the plot. Mr. Howard London, research scientist, plant pathology, entomology and weed science department at Narei, explains this management practice.
While managing black or yellow SIGATOKA disease, it's important to properly manage weed. Weeds rob plants of nutrients. They also cause more moisture to remain on the land for much longer. And additionally, weeds are alternative hosts for other pests that may affect plantain or banana. As the plant develops, it's important to continuously remove disease-infested leaves. If the leaf is heavily infested, it's important to remove the leaves. If it's partially infested, you can simply, what we refer to as service, remove the infested parts of the leaf. But after removing the leaves, it's also very important to remove all leaves from the farm and burn same.
Prune out suckers, leaving about 3 plants of different sizes per mat or stool. These should be the mother with fruit, a sucker about to flower, 1 small sucker. After harvest, collect infected leaves from the mother plant left after harvest. Replant with tolerant varieties, that is, tissue cultured varieties produced at Narei. The disease can be managed by the application of a combination of protectant, contact, copper and systemic fungicides on a rotational basis, which should be applied post-cultural practices like leaf pruning. It is important to rotate the fungicides in the different groups to prevent the buildup of resistant strains of the fungus every 3 weeks to a month. No more than 2 applications of the same systemic fungicide should be made before changing to another group. Furthermore, recent research has shown that those chemicals are effective in managing the disease when used appropriately. The chemicals published are all authorized by the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, inclusive of its mode of action. The recommended chemicals are Victory at 50 grams per 20 liters of water, Glory at 80 grams per 20 liter, Carbendazim 10 teaspoons per 20 liter water, Extractor Gold at 24 ml per 20 liter water. Ensure thorough coverage while applying chemicals. And finally, employ a scheduled fungicidal program, especially if the disease is known to be present in close proximity to your farm. Spray using a mist blower in the early hours of the day, ensuring that the leaves are properly drenched with the fungicide. For maximum effect, use a sticker with every application. For more information or help in the management of black SIGATOKA, contact the nearest Narei Extension officer in your region.